Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and thank you for taking the time to stop by for our daily trade review, which really doesn't consist of much. We are for the whole month of December and potentially into the new year, if everything goes successfully, live streaming GameStop videos through a time frame where I would typically be trading, right? So the amount of trades that we probably will be going through is going to trim down a little bit for the month, and depending on how things go moving forward, it could be a condensed variant of what we've been doing so far. So getting into it, right? Because we got a lot more to do today and a lot less time to do it. So QTTB was on our radar because they are selling a complement inhibitor, ATX097, whatever that means. But we can get into that, right? QTTB, throw it into Stock Titan, one of my favorite news websites that can give us a breakdown through its AI, which is pretty brutal. But it does a good job of all the news, right? So we don't have to read this whole press release, right? We can just go right up to the positive and negative to understand it in a little bit less time. So upfront, near-term cash of $12 million. Okay, that's good. And this is a $40 million company, and at the time, I suspect was maybe worth 25 to 30 or less. So when you see a company worth, say 25 million, getting 12 million in cash up front, that's a big deal, right? That's going to move the price of the stock. The deal provides a runway into the second half of 2027. That's awesome, allowing them to continue business. Eligibility of up to 600 million in milestone payments. Now, they will have to, of course, complete those milestones, which sometimes are hard to do. But nonetheless, this has the potential to unlock a buttload of cash in comparison to their current market cap, right? So that is generating some hype this morning. On the backside of this, they're selling phase 2 asset, which, is kind of like a big deal for them to progress, but whatever. And then the bulk of the payment is contingent on development and regulatory and commercial milestones, which, again, aren't always easy to accomplish. But, if they've got a plan to do so, that's, going to be, I guess, a big part of that, right? And then getting the cash to, have that runway, allowing them the time to get through all of this stuff, right? To get the bigger milestone payments. So, technically speaking, this was a nice play, right? Really good news pop. Did kind of break down on that 21 here, or attempted to, but expanded off of it. And then again, not even testing the 50. So showing a lot of strength here in the morning, taking all-time highs. Well, not all-time high, new high of day, pardon me. And then again, it just refuses to break down from this level set in the morning, right? And then expansion again into market open. But as all things do, we have that reversal signal. We lose the 200, which means this is bad news bears, and it bleeds down for the rest of the day. Not great, but, you see, the headline like this. And, I've been around a little bit longer. That's why I didn't take the trade today. But a lot of people were really excited about this 600 million in comparison to its market cap of 40 million, right? But they have a lot of work to do to get there. And that's, the realization hits that, this isn't going to happen today. So, when will it happen? And then why would I stay in this while I'm waiting for that to happen, right? But they do get that, initial boost, which is warranted off the 12 million cash now, extending their cash or operational runway into the future to have the chance at those things, right? So not saying that they won't do it, just saying that they're not going to do it tomorrow, right? And if they're not doing it tomorrow, why be in it this afternoon, right? Anyways, an entry model here, not really. Like, you could have picked it up off the 21 if you were brave, but it had already rocketed from 2 to 4, and you're going to buy at a trend retest while it's up 100%? Not me. Not me, man. I'm not into that. There's no entry model here. There's no VWAP breakdown and reclaim. Actually, let's look at it on the bottom. Okay, there is. There is. I don't have VWAP on my top screen. There's a couple entry models here on the reclaim if you were into it. They're not super clean. Like, so here's the first one, right? We have our news pop, VWAP breakdown, and our reclaim candle. So this candle here is our reclaim, and then our stop is below that pullback that breaks VWAP, right? And then we're aiming for a 1-to-1 risk reward, which you get. You get an immediate exit if you had a semi-decent entry. If not, I'm sure you were getting out of your trade here or at least scaling it. And from there, it did do a substantial 6-to-1 risk reward, more likely. Super safe exits here around that 5-to-1 risk reward. Now, if you were to enter this based on an entry model, anytime there is a news pop, that's what we call it, like a PR, a press release hits, a piece of news, and then the stock price pops, then we, like how we've done on this channel hundreds of times at this point, entry off of the VWAP reclaim, stop loss at the recent pullback of that breakdown, and then you just scalp it up, manage your risk, right? So if you were to play it, that would have been your best entry model. Other than that, you could have picked it up off VWAP here, right? Or VWAP here. That would have been really good as well. Not as high of conviction entry models, but still nonetheless really good risk reward, right? Because you're picking it up at its point of support and the last support that we would want to own the stock at. Like, I don't ever want to be long on something below VWAP, right? That's not good. Right? And this is a good example, right? When we lose VWAP, what happens the rest of the day? Expansion downwards. Just like when we reclaim it, we get expansion upwards, right? So it's a point of price separation for us most times. Moving forward, Cala was on our radar. I think I might have actually traded this morning. We did get a 1-to-1 on that news pop play. And perfect example, the exact same thing that I say every one of these videos is we have this news pop, right? Let me just go over here. KALA enters into 6 million securities purchase agreement with investor David E. Lazar. What a name. But nonetheless, we'll jump in. You can read the positives, the negatives really quick. 6 million of committed financing, which is great. Immediate cash of 1.8, which is really cool. A new CEO. That's big news. That could be a potential change in direction for the company in a positive manner. Potential additional funding of the rest of the 6, right, upon approval, which I would imagine they get. However, they recently failed a phase 2 endpoint, which is not good. And because of that, the stock price got obliterated, right? Right? You see, when that news came out and they failed that endpoint, boom, dead. Biotech companies, it's make or break with these trials. So a lot of shorts in this because of that, right? Been just pushing it down, and now we've kind of flipped the script, right? So there's potential here to squeeze some shorts, but we're going to have to take it day by day, right? Into the 1 minute here, there's that massive gap on the 1 day because of that bad news from 2 all the way up to like 20 or something silly, 18. So, if we're going to make a multi-day run at it, we want to have those upper levels to target, of course. Our trade broke down in the morning though, right? We got our 1-to-1 and then it loses VWAP and goes all the way to the 200, which you don't want to be a part of this, right? Just get out of it. And if you want to re-enter, that's fine. Really good re-entries into the morning and even post-morning trading session into the afternoon, right? This was a really good run into new high of day, $2 from potential lows of $1. Like, that's really good. We don't see this, though, because we have to manage our risk because we don't know that it comes back. No one can say that for sure, right? So always make sure that you're managing that risk. And a busier day doing the YouTube live stream, so not... And I'm sure I'll get better at managing them both into the future. But today I was kind of like, okay, take your foot off the gas. I don't want to have any plays active while I'm trying to do this other stuff, right? So FTEL did a share repurchase, 3 million, which is pretty decent. It could take up to 24 months though, right? And that's the bad thing here for me. That not all of that share repurchase volume is going to be hitting the tape right away. It is still a corporate-based catalyst that can drive, retail and institutional volume. However, it doesn't perform. And in my experience, stock buybacks don't necessarily always perform that day, right? But it's into the future when a lot of that buy volume does start to hit the tape. But a little bit of hype off of that. The market capitalization here is $3 million, so they're basically buying back, the float, which is aggressive. Let me check that on FinViz. Sometimes it's wrong. Market cap 2.92. No, that is correct. That's what we see here. So, yeah, like that could potentially be a big deal. We'll add it to the watch list moving forward. But again, they're saying it's going to take potentially 12 months to complete. However, the stock has been beaten down. So, there is the potential here to turn things around. And when that does happen, maybe you get a bit of a move. Previously, not really holding these gains though, right? Like you get a nice move and it deletes it. A nice move, delete, nice move, delete. These things don't always last forever that way, but a stock in motion has the tendency to remain in motion, right? So it is hard to reverse and to curve back up and overcome a lot of this downward pressure. However, if you do, there's a lot of shorts that you could potentially squeeze here, which is a big move if you're getting in on those lows. So we're gonna watch it. Maybe this volume persists, and that can happen, but I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt most things. And then I can take a look at the S&P 500 to kind of close it today, and Bitcoin. I think the broader market was quite strong throughout the day, at least into the afternoon, with pretty aggressive sell-off and step down. I don't know if anything really happened here. But at the end of the day, we're still kind of just hugging, that 15 minutes, you can see it whatever time frame, but that downtrend, right? Like we kind of wanted to break out, but then gapped down, and then kind of wanted to break out, and then gapped down. So just kind of like hugging it, swinging back and forth along it, waiting for either a clean breakout above it so we can, challenge all-time highs here, or, it is a rejection at that point. Ooh, if we do reject here, it could be the start of a longer pullback. I wholeheartedly feel. But, we very much could invalidate the downtrend, and, away we go. On that note, crypto is getting obliterated. It was like, what, 80K? Yeah. Not great. It was pretty cheap here. This was last week. This is today. Still 83K, 84K off of pullback. It did look like it was recovering quite nicely, but I guess this would have been last night when futures opened and they kind of dumped. Crypto just fell off. LOL. So yeah, not looking good. And that, honestly, to me, kind of increases the conviction of, the S&P 500 sell-off, right? Where, maybe we do break down, and then where do we catch, right? It becomes the big question, because the EMAs are quite compressed. They're very close to one another, specifically on the 15-minute. The one day obviously is going to change that story, but we'll see. It could just be kind of hanging around until it goes. Very, very, very much likely. But if it was to reject, it's got to be here, right? So I think the market's very indecisive, kind of waiting for that. I'm not the only one waiting for it, right? Everybody has to. So thank you for watching. That's been our general market recap. Of course, we have the GameStop live stream all December long. And if you need to look at, would like me to look at another stock, we can do it. We got plenty of time. Thank you for watching. Have a magical day, and I will see you soon in the next.